Welcome to another 50-50 beard experiment, and today we're going to compare and contrast Honest Amish and Viking Revolution beard balm. And so I have got a background and a PhD in chemistry, so we're going to kind of chemistry this up a little bit. So before we get into the different types of scientific experiments that I've done in the past on these sort of materials, let's have a look first of all at the first impression. So first of all, let's have a look at Honest Amish. Now, Honest Amish, I ordered this from the States and I can see already that it's leaked a little bit around the edge and it's stained the box. So I'm not sort of super confident that, it will be in the best condition ever. So if you are living in like a different country and it does have to be shipped across hot places on hot tarmacs, maybe this isn't the best thing to start with, but let's have a look. So it comes in a nice cardboard box, you know, the nice Honest Amish branding that we all love, and it's a nice silver container, easy done, and on top it says Honest Amish beard balm, all natural and organic, fantastic. Now, the outside doesn't feel oily, so I don't know where this sort of staining has come from, but when I open it, it's like a little bit like gritty and sticky. So there has been some leakage, but not too much that it's got completely on the thing. And let's have a look. We get inside and, oh, nice, not too overpowering at all, but you can see already that yes, it has sort of like been on this edge. It has heated up to a significant temperature and it has reformed in that shape. And as I look at it, I can see that there are maybe some like crystals that have formed in there, and this is quite sort of common with beard balms that have coconut oil in it. When I make my DIY beard balm, if it goes through this kind of melting and re-solidifying process, it looks exactly like this, and it is a little bit gritty. So yes, overall, you know, I'd prefer that it didn't melt, but you know, it's come a long way. It's come all the way to Australia from the States, but the smell is very, very subtle. And initially, the sort of on the fingers, yes, there is a little bit of grittiness from the re-solidification. You can see that on top, that it hasn't kind of re-solidified in a nice kind of homogeneous way. But overall, I know that when I put this in my hands and sort of heat it up, it's gonna sort of melt absolutely fine. So first impressions, you know, not ideal that it melted, but absolutely fine. So there is the Honest Amish beard balm. Now, Viking Revolution. This is actually my first time with a Viking Revolution product. So I'm a little bit curious to see what they've got in there. They've got a package that opens at the top. Oh, look at that. And you are presented with a sticker and a little info thing. Excellent. Thanks for the sticker. Now, it's a nice big container, much sort of like wider and flatter than the Honest Amish one, but it says 100% sandalwood, Viking Revolution, beard balm, 2 ounces. Great. I've never understood in the States the ounce thing, but here we are. This apparently is how much 2 ounces are. And this has not re-solidified, which is fantastic. So it's a really nice, smooth surface. It hasn't melted. It looks like it survived the journey much better than the Honest Amish, and the smell is sandalwood and it's very, very subtle, so that's good. The one thing about the Honest Amish beard soap, if you haven't go check out that video where I review Honest Amish beard soap and beard brand. That was a very strong smell, but this, because you leave it in, both of them are very, very subtle smells. So I think this is actually very, very pleasant, and yeah, nice smooth surface. So even if it has melted a little bit in the journey, it hasn't sort of reconstituted and re-solidified in a really kind of like gross way, which means that as you're sort of like, you know, melting it, it should melt nice and evenly. Now, on to the science stuff. So one of the first things that we're going to do is a smear test. I have got a little digital microscope and I'm going to smear it onto a glass surface here, and we're going to take a look to see what it looks like. I used to do this with emulsion explosives, and it gives you an idea essentially of how homogeneous it is. And given that, you know, the Honest Amish has definitely gone through some issues, and the Viking Revolution one hasn't, there'll be some interesting differences when we look through the microscope. Okay, so I have got a nice clear glass surface here that I'm going to put Honest Amish and Viking Revolution on it. So all we do sort of in the emulsion explosives field is you literally get a little bit of the material and you just smear it onto the surface. So here I'm going to put Honest Amish just here, and so you can see already that it's a little bit gritty. It's not kind of homogeneous. It's not melting evenly. And like I said, I've had that experience with coconut oil in the past, and that's what this looks like it mainly contains. So there's the Honest Amish, and that's smeared onto one side, and then on the other side we shall put the Viking Revolution beard balm. So that Honest Amish was relatively tough, and this one, okay, it's nice and smooth, and immediately you can see a massive difference in the quality. So I'll show that to the camera. So on this side, this is the Honest Amish. You can see that when it's re-solidified, it's essentially ended up with like little gritty bits. And just on this side, you know, it's nice and smooth, it's continuous, there's no grittiness, it's very homogeneous. So that is a win already for the Viking Revolution sandalwood thing. Now let's take a look at it under the microscope. So here is the Honest Amish one, and you can see that there are little flecks of just like crystalline things, like it hasn't re-solidified from being melted completely evenly. So yeah, you know, this isn't necessarily surprising based, because, you know, that sort of thing we can see from not using a microscope. But on the other end, this is the Viking Revolution one, and you can see that really there's no crystalline. It's all very, very similar all over the surface, and really those patterns are only because of my fingers and the way it's been smeared. There's no massive sort of lumps or bumps, and it definitely felt much smoother when I was smearing it on the surface as opposed to the Honest Amish. So there we are, that is what the Honest Amish looks like. And then the Viking Revolution is much smoother, much nicer to move around. And then here we have got some lumps, but do not worry, because I really feel like these will disappear once it warms up in my hand. And the next thing we should test is the melting point. My suspicion is that the Honest Amish has a much lower melting point than the Viking Revolution, but we shall check that in a moment. So here we are in my echoey kitchen, and we're going to put a teaspoon of each different type of beard balm on a hot plate, and then we'll see which one melts first. Let's give it a go. This is the Honest Amish. This is the Viking Revolution. Honest Amish, Viking Revolution. Let's turn on the heat. Honest Amish is melting much quicker. Alright, so we just got back from doing the melting point test, and just as I expected, the Honest Amish actually melted quicker. And it's not surprising considering how it turned up, and the Viking Revolution, you know, it also melted in a reasonable sort of time, and as soon as I put the heat on, they started melting. So both of these beard balms don't contain a huge amount of sort of like wax or hold component. They really are for conditioning. And so now that we know a little bit more about the kind of makeup and the way these things behave, let's actually just put it on my beard. So I haven't washed my beard today, but I washed it yesterday, and it is completely dry. There's no oil, conditioner, or other DIY balm that I make on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on Honest Amish on this side and Viking Revolution on this side, and then we'll see how it feels. So, the amount of beard balm that I typically use is just not very much, so it takes a while to kind of, you know, break through that little surface. But once you're there, actually, it's very, very soft, the Honest Amish one. And yeah, you know, it has got that grittiness that I have come to expect because it has melted and re-solidified. And you can see on my hand that, you know, it's not ideal because, you know, you want it to sort of go nice and soft evenly. But after a little bit of effort, there we are, it just ends up that it's nice on my hands. There's still a little bit of the coconut oil, like grittiness, but that's fine. And so I'm going to put it on this side of my face. But it smells nice. It's quite a sort of like fruity smell. So if you like fruity stuff, then this is it. And then it'll be quite pleasant, I think, you know, once you get used to it throughout the day. So there we are. That is the Honest Amish on that side of the beard. And it's quite oily to the touch. But, you know, that's what really you want. You want the natural oils to go into your beard to make it nice and conditioned. So there we are. There is the Honest Amish. And it applies like a nice beard oil. So no complaints there. Once you get past that kind of like grittiness, it's actually very pleasant to put on. So there we are, that's that side. And now the Viking Revolution on this side of the beard. It sort of feels more like a beard balm. So there we have it. There is the Viking Revolution on one side of my beard, this side, and the Honest Amish on this side. And now what I want to do is go get a good soft bristle brush and just sort of brush it into shape. That's in the bathroom. I'll be back. All right, nice soft natural hair brush, and I'll give each side just a little bit of a brush just to distribute the beard oil a little bit better and provide a little bit of style. There we have it. That's what the difference between the Honest Amish and the Viking Revolution beard balm is all about. You know, I think both of them are really good products, but the one thing about the Honest Amish is because it has got a lower melting point, and when it re-solidifies, it's a little bit gritty. That's one thing that would stop me buying this, whereas the Viking Revolution didn't seem to have any issues in terms of, you know, being too low of a melting point. So if I was to choose one of these, I think at the moment, based on, you know, I like the smell as well, that they're very similar on the beard, so there's no real issues there. I think I would go for the Viking Revolution. Not that Honest Amish hasn't got a good product, but I think in this case, the Viking Revolution is just sort of pulled ahead in terms of the smell. I like the smell, the feeling of the beard balm, how easily it melts and how evenly it melts when you're applying it. And then really, once most products are on, they're pretty much the same. I would say that the Viking Revolution feels a little bit more conditioned than the Honest Amish side just by touching here now. So yeah, I think slowly now the confirmation bias will seep into my review, but I do feel like Viking Revolution could be one of the best ones to buy if you are deciding between Honest Amish and Viking Revolution. I think I'll be buying this one again. There we are. Now let me know in the comments, what beard balms should I compare next? And also let me know what beard balms are your favorite. And until next time, I shall see you in the next video.